At 8:14 hours, 3 Sea Baby naval drones bob in the dark waters of the Black Sea, having navigated 300 kilometers through minefields and Russian patrols to reach a precise firing point just 30 kilometers off the coast of Crimea. Their objective is the heavily fortified Belbek Air Base, but the real target is a $50 million interceptor parked on the tarmac, a prize that will ultimately trigger a catastrophic chain of events, forcing a desperate evacuation hundreds of kilometers away. Above the deck of the lead vessel, a makeshift launch rail points skyward. With a sharp hiss of compressed air, the first aerial drone shoots off the rail, but it does not fly free. Behind it, a high-tech reel begins to unwind at breakneck speed, spooling out a continuous line of fiber-optic cable. This is a marvel of modern engineering. An umbilical cord of glass thinner than a human hair connecting the drone directly to the boat. There are no radio signals to intercept, no global positioning system coordinates to spoof, and no data links to jam. To the sophisticated Russian electronic warfare systems guarding the shore, this piece of plastic and explosives is an absolute ghost. As the swarm of 12 drones rises from the water and turns toward the coastline, the physical cables trailing behind them represent both their greatest tactical advantage and their most fatal vulnerability. 500 kilometers away in a secure underground bunker in Kyiv, an operator watches the feed with sweaty palms as the Crimean coastline appears on his monitor in crisp, high-definition 4K resolution. The signal travels down from Starlink satellites to the motherboat and then shoots straight up the physical glass cable to the drone with absolute zero latency. He whispers a tense plea to himself, praying the fragile thread holds. If the boat rocks too aggressively in the coastal waves, or if the drone executes too sharp of a turn, the lateral tension will exceed the breaking limit of the glass. The cable will snap, and the screen will go black forever. It is effectively a suicide mission walked on a very expensive 30-kilometer dog leash. At 140 kilometers per hour, the swarm crosses the shoreline, skimming dangerously close to the treetops to avoid the radar horizon. They are delivering a payload directly into the teeth of the most heavily defended airspace on the planet. The operator grips the controls, steering the lead drone with the kind of instant responsiveness you only get when your inputs travel at the speed of light. Right now, they are entirely undetected, slipping through the invisible electronic net that Russia has cast over the peninsula. But that element of total surprise is about to evaporate in a matter of seconds. At 8:16 hours, the massive Nebo-SBU early warning radar finally registers 12 faint anomalies pushing through the ambient noise of the coastal waves. The Russian operator inside the command vehicle does not hesitate for a second, immediately slamming the activation sequence for the Krasuka 4 electronic warfare system. This specialized truck is essentially a microwave oven on steroids, designed specifically to fry sophisticated aviation circuits and sever satellite links within a 400-kilometer radius. He pushes the interference to maximum power, fully expecting the dozen contacts to drop from the sky like swatted flies. 3 seconds pass, then 5 seconds, but the drones continue their relentless advance in a perfect, unperturbed line. The Russian generals forgot one fundamental rule of physics when building their invisible electromagnetic wall. Electronic warfare works by saturating radio receivers with garbage data, but fiber optics do not carry electricity or radio waves. They transport photons through a closed loop of glass. It is physically impossible to interfere with light using radio waves. The Russian officer is bombarding the morning sky with enough radiated energy to black out communications across all of Crimea, but his billion-dollar electronic shield is absolutely useless against a piece of glass string. By 8:17 hours, the electronic magic has completely failed, leaving the Russian defenders to rely on brute force kinetics. The formidable S-400 surface-to-air missile system attempts to lock onto the incoming targets, but its targeting software stubbornly refuses to authorize a launch. The drones are flying so incredibly low that the Doppler radar filters interpret their tiny cross-sections as sea foam or coastal birds. The system's computer simply decides that a $2 million interceptor is not worth wasting on a flock of fat seagulls. The task falls to the Panzer S-2 short-range air defense system. The Panzer gunner ignores the automated radar tracking and switches manually to his optical targeting camera, spotting the black silhouettes screaming inward at 140 kilometers per hour. The twin 30mm cannons erupt, spitting a solid wall of lead and tracers into the sky at a cyclic rate of 5,000 rounds per minute. Back in the Kyiv bunker, the monitor for Drone 4 instantly explodes into white static. It is a direct kinetic impact. The operator for Drone 5 panics and banks hard left to dodge the incoming tracer fire, committing a fatal error. A cable stretching 30 kilometers carries brutal weight and aerodynamic drag. The sharp turn spikes the lateral tension, snapping the glass thread instantly. The screen goes black, cutting the assault force down to 10 before they even reach the perimeter. At 18 hours, the surviving 10 drones cross the final stretch of coastline, skimming dangerously close to the treetops. Right now, the Crimean Peninsula is Earth's electromagnetic hell. Russian Pol-21 electronic warfare systems are screaming across all frequencies, saturating the spectrum with so much noise that a $2 million Tomahawk cruise missile would crash into a chicken farm completely confused. But the Ukrainian operators back in the Kyiv bunker do not rely on satellite navigation. They are using their human eyes. With sweaty hands gripping the controllers, the flight leader visually identifies the M18 highway, executing a sharp left turn right above a local petrol station. It is the ultimate tactical irony. Russia is burning millions of watts of energy to blind the supercomputers of modern missiles, and the Ukrainians are bypassing the entire network by navigating as if they were looking for a coffee shop on a digital map. However, this is far from a casual Sunday drive. They are hurtling at 150 kilometers per hour through an invisible obstacle course. If the trailing fiber-optic strand grazes a high-voltage power line, a stray tree branch, or even an unfortunate bird, the mission instantly aborts. They are dragging a fragile 30-kilometer glass cable that absolutely cannot touch anything while flying at highway speeds. Exactly 1 minute later, the massive structure of the Nebo-SBU radar finally materializes on the horizon. It is an imposing 10-meter-tall metal grid that rotates majestically, designed to hunt for stratospheric bombers and incoming ballistic threats. It is a piece of hardware worth a staggering $100 million. The operator controlling Drone 6 does not waste a single second overthinking the geometry. He shoves the control stick firmly forward, sending the small aircraft into a steep, lethal dive. The highly advanced Russian radar system can do absolutely nothing to defend itself against a cheap piece of plastic hurled at its neck from the literal bushes. The hollow charge warhead detonates upon impact. The shaped explosive generates a hypervelocity jet of molten copper that slices through the delicate, highly sophisticated electronics like a hot knife through butter. A $100 million strategic asset is instantly converted into a pile of smoking, useless scrap metal in the blink of an eye. Back in the underground bunker, a brief wave of relief washes over the team as the primary surveillance grid collapses. With the early warning radars physically eliminated, the dreaded S-400 air defense network is effectively blinded, but the immediate threat is not entirely neutralized just yet. Its mechanical brain, the 92N6 Gravestone fire control radar, frantically spins atop its chassis, violently sweeping the horizon in a desperate search for the assassins that just decapitated its older brothers. Without the data feed from the destroyed surveillance grid, this radar is operating entirely alone. Someone in the Russian command chain correctly decided that this specific radar was far too valuable to lose, as it carries a replacement cost of roughly $30 million. Their solution was to apply the absolute pinnacle of passive defense technology, a heavy fishing net. They have literally draped the entire radar system in thick layers of camouflage netting and anti-drone mesh. From an aerial perspective, it is intentionally designed to look exactly like a harmless, overgrown bush or a discarded pile of garbage. It is a brilliant textbook strategy, assuming the current year was 1945. Drone number 8 emerges through the thick, black smoke left by the previous explosion. Its 4K resolution camera frantically scans the maneuvering yard. The flight leader commands the team to search for a perfectly square anomaly. To the naked human eye, the physical camouflage works flawlessly, blending the gray and green tones seamlessly into the background. But the operator swiftly switches his feed to the thermal camera filter, and the fatal, glaring flaw is immediately exposed to the entire control room. The heavy electronics operating inside the radar generate a brutal amount of internal thermal energy. Underneath the dense camouflage netting, the 92N6 shines on the thermal monitor like a glowing toaster wrapped in a heavy winter blanket. Trying to hide a high-powered military-grade radar with a canvas tarp is the tactical equivalent of trying to conceal a raging forest fire by covering it with a newspaper. The operator quickly achieves a visual lock and pushes Drone 8 into a steep dive at 150 kilometers per hour. The physical anti-drone nets simply do not stand a chance against a 40-kilogram aircraft loaded with military-grade explosives. The drone smashes cleanly through the mesh at exactly 8:21 hours. Fractions of a second later, the internal warhead detonates, completely eviscerating the $30 million radar from the inside out. But the Ukrainian luck runs out right there on the tarmac. 400 meters away, the highly vigilant gunner of the surviving Pantsir S-2 system spots the sudden movement. He has a perfectly clear, unobstructed line of sight to the remaining 4 drones attempting to infiltrate the active runway space. The Pantsir's twin cannons roar to life. This is no longer blind, desperate suppressive fire. It is lethal precision. In Kyiv, the monitor for Drone 9 bursts into a bright red flash and dies. A microsecond later, Drone 10 begins a violent, uncontrollable death spiral after its right wing is cleanly severed by a 30mm high-explosive shell. At 8:22 hours, the Pantsir S-2 system transforms into a highly agitated armored beast, armed with 12 hypersonic missiles and dual cannons, commanded by an officer running entirely on pure adrenaline. After obliterating drones 9 and 10, the turret snaps violently to the south. The tracking radar locks onto the 11th drone, which is desperately using the thick black smoke from the ruined S-400 radar as cover. The Russian commander authorizes the launch, and the 57 E-6 missile blasts out of its launch tube with a concussive roar that literally fractures the asphalt beneath the truck. Accelerating to Mach 3 in under 2 seconds, it is a $150,000 guided death pencil launched to swat a $5,000 plastic toy. This inverted war economy is the equivalent of exterminating household pests by throwing solid gold bars at them. But the sheer kinetic force is undeniable. In the Kyiv bunker, the operator controlling the 11th drone catches the blinding launch flash in crisp 4K resolution. There is zero time for complex tactical calculation, only pure reflex. He violently yanks the control stick, commanding a brutal, ground-hugging evasive brake to the right. Because the fiber-optic cable transmits inputs at the speed of light without radio latency, the drone executes the maneuver instantly. The massive Russian interceptor missile, engineered to hunt predictable fighter jets and heavy bombers, desperately attempts to correct its trajectory, its control fins screaming against the laws of physics. The missile whizzes a mere 3 meters past the plastic drone, slamming into an empty maintenance hangar where the massive shockwave rattles the camera feed, but the fragile glass thread miraculously holds firm. The surviving drone has now crossed a critical threshold in air defense geometry. Surface-to-air missiles require a minimum flight distance of roughly 1,200 meters just to arm their warheads. By pushing inside that 800-meter bubble, the drone renders the remaining hypersonic missiles useless, turning them into extremely fast, harmless metal pipes. Realizing his error, the Russian commander abandons the missile interface and grips the manual cannon joystick. The twin 30mm gun barrels depress, locking onto Drone 11 as it makes a heroic sprint toward the armored cabin. However, the unforgiving mathematics of ballistics favor the defenders. The cannons erupt, spitting a blinding tongue of fire and filling the operator's monitor with an inescapable wall of glowing tracers. At 400 meters from impact, the video feed disintegrates. The Pantsir has pulverized the aircraft in midair. More devastatingly, the defensive truck remains intact, its radars actively hunting for its next victim. In the bunker, the squad leader stares grimly at the final active monitor belonging to Drone 12. The situation has shifted from incredibly difficult to mathematically impossible. The solitary survivor must evade the deadliest operational Pantsir in Crimea and locate the hidden aircraft. Suddenly, the primary camera feed reveals the ultimate prize sitting exposed on the main tarmac. Despite base sirens screaming for 10 minutes, a massive MiG-31 Foxhound interceptor rests directly in the sun, resembling a $50 million convertible left unattended, practically begging for destruction. Less than 800 meters away, the lone pilot of the Russian interceptor is violently wrestling with his own mechanical nightmare. He has received frantic orders to initiate an emergency takeoff, but starting a 40-ton beast of Cold War engineering is an agonizingly slow procedure. The massive turbofan engines require a full 90 seconds just to spool from a cold state up to minimum operational power. If a panicked pilot rushes the delicate ignition sequence, it guarantees a catastrophic compressor stall, pooling unburned jet fuel that will detonate the engine before the aircraft rolls a single inch. The Russian pilot is sweating ice, his hands blurring across the cockpit panels as he skips mandatory safety checklists, screaming at the instrumentation as the engine revolutions climb with terrifying slowness. Furthermore, the internal navigation gyroscopes demand 45 seconds to physically align and inform the flight computers which direction is up. Glancing at the horizon, the pilot spots the menacing black silhouette of the 12th drone rapidly expanding in his canopy window. Feeling the massive engines finally reach bare minimum taxiing thrust, he disengages the hydraulic parking brakes, praying that sudden movement might disrupt the drone's targeting vector. The massive interceptor lurches forward, but he is entirely out of time. At the last possible microsecond, Drone 12 pitches its nose upward, executing a radical maneuver to optimize its impact angle. The monitor shows the gray fuselage completely filling the frame, detailing every single rivet and capturing the terrified pilot turning his helmet to look immediate death right in the eyes. The operator hits the detonator 1 microsecond before physical contact. The hollow charge collapses inward, converting its copper cone into a superheated jet of plasma traveling at 8,000 meters per second. This spear perfectly penetrates the delicate wing root where the primary fuel tanks merge with the fuselage. Fractions of a second later, 15 tons of highly combustible aviation fuel ignite simultaneously. The $50 million interceptor vanishes inside a blinding fireball of catastrophic proportions. The heavy cockpit canopy is violently ripped from its hinges, while the shock wave hurls flaming shrapnel across the tarmac. Inside the bunker, the operator rips off his headset, hands shaking from the adrenaline of orchestrating a flawless tactical masterpiece. However, the ultimate twist is unfolding 30 kilometers offshore. The mother vessel is supposed to execute a self-destruct protocol and quietly sink. Instead, a Russian Kyiv-52 attack helicopter breaches the horizon. The pilot did not rely on radar. He simply followed the physical trail of floating glass cable acting like a giant neon arrow pointing directly to the perpetrators. He fires a laser-guided missile, and the telemetry screen inside the bunker violently flashes a proximity warning before dissolving into permanent static. The operators lose their celebratory smiles. They humiliated the defense grid, but the Russian military just vaporized their launch vessel. The commanding officer stares at the dead monitor, turns off the main power switch with a heavy click, and orders an immediate evacuation, knowing the floating wreckage will pinpoint their exact coordinates within minutes.